Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the May 13th Raw review, the go home show for Extreme Rules. Now, did they hype this Raw up for Extreme Rules? Let's find out. The opening of the show was a dance-off between Fandango and Chris Jericho. I'm sure many people are kind of like, oh, I don't want to really see that much about this stupid dancing crap, especially with Fandango, who's not a great character. I find this refreshing. I don't know about anybody else, but I find this refreshing that they're doing something other than with the typical bit with the heels and the faces. At least it's something we've been asking for. We wanted a new character that was different. Yes, we got another dancer, similar to a Brodus Clay, but this time as a heel. Is it bad storytelling? Not necessarily. We get Fandango with Summer Rae. And I've said this already about Summer Rae, and don't get me wrong, she's a gorgeous woman. I have a chance to see a little bit of her work, not much. She doesn't seem like a bad talent, but she's not a dancer. And I've already said this before. To get Fandango over when he's not in the ring, I really believe he needs a dancer. I don't know why they keep sticking him with someone who isn't generally a great dancer. To hide the fact that he can't dance, you need someone who can. And that's how I feel about it. Tell me below what you feel. For a Chris Jericho who did go on Dancing with the Stars and has worked with a Etta, I believe I'm pronouncing her name, Sawalska. If I'm pronouncing her name wrong, tell me below. I'm sorry. I'm done my best. I'm not good with names. But I had seen her on Dancing with the Stars more than a few times. And I have to say, between Etta and Summer, I'm sorry. Summer has some sexy ass legs and she's a pretty blonde. But Etta is way more hotter. And she's a real dancer. It would have been better to have her to work with Fandango than Summer Rae, because she can easily hide the fact that Fandango can't dance. And I know people are going to say, wait, dude, he doesn't do much dancing. What's the point? The point is that your partner is the one who makes you hyper, that gives you more of credibility. And the Summer Rae just isn't much of a dancer. I'm sorry, she doesn't even look like a dancer. And the bit in the ring when the King was talking with the Fandango, when they started switching over to the dancing, seeing her stand there waiting for the pose, waiting in the pose, just felt a little awkward with her. I'm not saying she probably can dance to a good point, but she's no Etta. And I would have actually wanted to see Etta dance and shake that beautiful ass she has. Oh, she's a good looking woman. But we didn't see that. We saw a Summer Rae fake an injury. And what did we get? A beat down on a Chris Jericho. Because once Fandango supposedly felt embarrassed and tried to leave the ring, and a Chris Jericho, being the face that he is, walks up with Etta and see if a Summer Rae is alright, Fandango runs back in the ring and beats the shit out of him, and then takes that little, what you call it? It's like a portable dance floor, and whacks him in the head with it. Not bad. Then we see a Summer Rae gets back up, fine as rain, and makes him even more heelish than he was. I mean, the people were booing for him, but that made it a little worse, which is good. So when you had the interview with the Chris Jericho later in the night, he says, I'm going to make sure you know what real dance is about, because I'm going to dance over your fucking ass in that ring at Extreme Rules. I don't know if there's going to be an actual Extreme Rules match. I'm hoping for it. I didn't hear what the match is, and I haven't checked the site. So I'm hoping there'll be Extreme Rules stipulation. Now, let's move on to the Primetime Players versus the Dancing Giants. I'm going with the dancing theme at this moment, ladies and gentlemen. I guess they're going to do an actual feud between the Primetime Players and the Dancing Giants, because Brodus Clay jobbed to Titus O'Neil because a Darren Young used his pick that he picks that hair with, no dandruff in that hair, and nails him in the throat. Is this the proper way to start a feud? It's not a very great way, but at least it's something a little different. We haven't had the Dancing Giants versus the Primetime Players. We've had Hell No go against them. We've had Kofi Kingston and R-Truth go against them. We've had anybody else go against them. So this, in a sense, is a little different. It's a little fresh. but not by much. But it's better than nothing. And I wish to say that Tensai seems to be getting into this being sweet tea little thing. Ugh, hate calling him sweet tea. But you know what I mean. He at least is getting into this character. At first, he really looked awkward about it and was not seeming to enjoy it. But he seems to like it. And that makes his character a little more better. If you don't like it, I understand about it. But at least he's doing something that he's enjoying. He's stuck with a terrible gimmick now. At least he's making lemonade out of shit, as I call it. Now, the Ryback segment with Zack Ryder wasn't anything. It was quick and to the point. And it's supposed to lead up into the night with the 6-man tag elimination. Whoever gets basically pinned, submitted, or counted out must go into the back, and they keep going from there. I felt very beginning when I heard Cena was in it, it was going to be the ending of either Cena was going to win or Cena would job very dirty. And he jobbed dirty. Even though technically he won by a count out. No, not by count out, I'm sorry. We had a disqualification from a reason I'm blanking in this is that I really wasn't fond of this. So I'm not going to explain who got counted out, who got disqualified. I wasn't fond of it because of the ending of it. The reason I got upset about this is that at the end of it, after Cena technically wins, but also technically jobs, he didn't win clean. You have basically a Ryback come out, looks at Cena with his belt by his side, walks away, but then goes back, grabs a chair, and whacks him in the ankle where his Achilles tendon is. This upsets me because the Ryback character is supposed to be a no-nonsense type of guy who can take out anybody. He doesn't even need to care about being a heel or a face. He's just a monster. Period. And he's having to go to these tactics to be dominant. I really feel they destroyed the Ryback character. I really believe that if he wins or he loses, he's going to fade from obscurity very soon. They're going to drop the Ryback character after this is all over. It may take a couple of months after Extreme Rules, but that's what I feel. I'm hoping I'm wrong and they restructure him better. But do I believe that? No. I really believe Ryback is going to be dropped in the next 3 or 4 months. He's basically not going to be seen. If he's going to be seen, he's just going to be jobbing very badly to maybe a Randy Orton, to a Wade Barrett, to a Tensai, to a Brodus Clay, or a Big Show. That's how I feel that's going to happen to a Ryback, who they had a beautiful opportunity to make a monster. I don't see that anymore. So let's move on to another guy who could have had more out of his character but has gone nowhere. And that is a Antonio Vazzato. And Antonio goes up against a Randy Orton. A repeat of the last 2 matches beforehand. Randy Orton wins. What does this mean? Leading into Extreme Rules, almost nothing. I felt the reason they had Randy Orton on television was about his 12 rounds part 2. In other words, 12 rounds 2. And I saw a little bit of the teaser. You know what? I think that Randy Orton would have been better as a heel, as a star. Hell, he should have done what Brodus Clay had done. Brodus Clay was depicted in another movie, I can't remember the name of it, as an evil monster. Why couldn't you make a Randy Orton as an evil monster? It's more towards the character in the show. By having him as a good guy and the Brodus Clay as a bad guy, it just gives off really weird vibes. It just doesn't work for me personally. Tell me below what you think. Is he better as a face doing a starring role than as a heel doing a starring role? That's what I believe. He's better as a heel. So I'm going to move on to Kofi Kingston versus Damien Sandow. Another person who's basically been dropped. Kofi now we know is going up against Dean Ambrose, and I did say it early. I said the people who were going to get those shots at either Extreme Rules or another pay-per-view was going to be Dean Ambrose for either the US or IC Championship. And I said that with Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, they were going after the tag championships, which they are. Both Dean Ambrose and Seth, and as well as Rollins, they're doing their individual matches, as I said they were going to do. I feel sorry for Damien. The person who really needs to get a championship is a Damien Sandow or Cody Rhodes. They deserve it, but they're not even caring about them. I know thinking Cody Rhodes getting the IC Championship or the US Championship is bad. I don't want him to go there. I'd rather see him go into the world title scene, but you got to give him something. And unfortunately, he has nothing. This match was quick. Kofi wins. No interest. Hearing about the match between him and Dean Ambrose was the thing that was the most interesting of the entire segment at all. And going into talking about Cody Rhodes, the next match is 3MB sighting. If you're a 3MB fan, nice. 3MB's head of Heath Slater goes up against The Miz, who is now clean shaven instead of looking like the construction worker. Not a long match. Figure 4 is put on. The crowd loved it. They went, woo! Woo! Who don't love the Nate? And who's not happy to see that the Nature's moves moved on to someone else? On The Miz is not bad. I'm okay with it. Hearing that The Miz and Cody Rhodes are doing a pre-show, someone must not like The Miz to be throwing him a pre-show so much. Why? I'd rather see him in a main event, or at least an event in a pay-per-view. I don't get it. Tell me below what you guys think. But he did look good, so that does lead into Extreme Rules pre-show. Feel sorry for Cody though. Let's move on. Now, Big E Langston, getting this over with. Big E Langston was put in a match, mainly because now, and I'll say something about my thoughts of Dolph during the explanation of the match, but since Dolph does now have a concussion, he's not cleared to wrestle, so there's going to be a #1 contender I Quit match for whoever wins it. Either the Trucker, Jack Swagger, or ADR. But that night, Big E Langston had a match between either a ADR or Jack Swagger, and they used the WWE app. And the WWE app is being shoved down my throat, and I hate it. It's stupid. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking at the WWE app. I'm not jumping down your throats, ladies and gentlemen, who is doing it. But come on. By doing this, what's the point of having USA and Raw? Put everything on the web. If it's going to be like this, it's garbage. The reason they have cable is because you put this on a wide audience. That, when it comes down to it, we'll look at the product. When you do the WWE app, you take away the mystique of the show. Because then people have to say, oh damn, I missed that. That scene isn't there. I need to see what happens next week. Maybe I'll see something I can't see when it goes to commercial. By doing the WWE app, you take that mystique away. And that's what I hate. The match itself between, and it was decided, I don't know if it was because the people actually voted on it or the people didn't. I don't care. It was the Trucker versus Big E Langston. Since we never seen these two up against one another much, it was at least decently refreshing. The match wasn't too bad. You got two big guys that, one is a big powerhouse, the other one supposedly is supposed to be a technician specialist. Not. It wasn't too bad. The match really ended with a count out, and we get a Trucker win. But what do we get after that? We get an ADR coming out and causing him to tap out by the cross arm breaker. Seriously? Garbage. Big E Langston comes in, does some damage, but then still, the person that comes out on top, even though he went after the Trucker and didn't get anywhere, was ADR. And the crowd didn't even care. They booed for ADR because they expected it. It's Not very good. Now, let me see. I got 2 more matches left to talk about. The first one is the AJ and Natalya match. And Natalya had a nice pink top that showed her nice boobies. She may not be a very voluptuous woman, but she has some nice boobies. And the people that were at ringside on commentary, as I said, if it's not Horny that is doing this Secret Admirer, it's going to be the Bellas. So the Bellas were right next to Caitlyn for no apparent reason. As I said, it's got to be the Bellas who's sending this stupid Admirer crap to try and distract Caitlyn. And the entire thing was only about Caitlyn and the Bellas. The match in the ring wasn't even cared about. Particularly when you got a submission by AJ on Natalya. Seriously, the crowd really wasn't into it, but seeing AJ do a submission, they didn't even hype it. It was crap. It's stupid. And this also falls into Dolph. AJ and Dolph are not even cared about. No one cares about Dolph. That's the reason why during the match of E Langston and the Trucker, and I'm sorry to mix them together, you guys don't even care about what happened to Dolph. You don't even give a damn. And then, what did Cole say? He said, I do give a damn. I give a damn about this match here. They don't give a damn about AJ, and they don't give a damn about Dolph. What was the point of even putting them in the main title picture if no one cares? We're going to see maybe AJ going to win, maybe Caitlyn. I don't really care because the Bellas are the ones that are going to do the next challenging. So I'm moving on to the final thing that is in the title. The Steel Cage match. Did we need it? We got basically a good segment from a Paul Heyman, a good segment from a Triple H, which I was more interested in Paulie's. And in the end, what do we get? The cage come down with the game in the middle of it, and we get a Brock Lesnar walking up to it. And I thought he was going to walk away, but he goes into that cage. They face each other, then they start fighting each other in the cage. A little tease of what they're about to give. Now my question is, was it really the wisest thing to do? I'm not sure. It really hyped up the crowd there. They loved it. That could be a short-term gain, maybe long-term loss. I don't know. I am not totally disappointed, and I'm still interested in seeing how this is going to go down. But they may have just teased what is going to happen. There's a good possibility Triple H is going to win this. So I kind of feel very disappointed that they even did this. I'd rather have not known. I mean, obviously there's a good chance he was going to win, but then seeing this tease where he kicks Brock's ass, throws him into the cage, hurts Heyman's head when he was near the door, that makes you think that Triple H is going to win this and Brock's not going to do shit again. So it's kind of hard to say. So how do I feel about this show? I'm not sure. I could say they did a decent job on trying to hype to Extreme Rules, so I could give it a B. It wasn't a great hyping, particularly with the WWE hat being shoved down my throat. I wasn't fond of it. But if I really have to say, it's a lot more interesting show than we normally would get. I mean, I'm not happy what's going on with Cody, Damian, Antonio. I could say it's a C plus or a B minus, but I have to say a B because at least they tried with the Fandango. More interested in Fandango. And when it came to the Sheamus and Mark Henry match, I mean, not even a match. Yeah, actually it was a match. I'm sorry I didn't mention it. The Sheamus and Mark Henry with the straps. Seeing Sheamus kick Mark Henry's ass with the strap doesn't fill me with confidence. It just makes me think he's going to lose. So I could say a B minus. But I'm going to say a B because at least the crowd made it more interesting for this show. And some of the things in the show weren't so bad. So I say a B. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane's View. Subscribe and comment to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll see if I can do a pay-per-view prediction. Have a good day.